can't find nothing on the radio.
You ready, Steve?
Welcome to Songology. He's Bruce,
He's Richard.
and this is another episode from our Song of the Day archives.
Enjoy.
Welcome back, Bruce. What do we have on tap for today?
Well, today I decided it's high time I put you on the spot again.
No.
Oh, yes. Why not? Because we have somebody who has a nickname as an artist, right? So we've already had the Queen of Soul, who is...
Aretha Franklin.
Right. And we had the Boss, who is...
Bruce Springsteen.
Right. 2 for 2. And we had the Fat Man, who is...
Castellano.
There you go. And so who has from time to time been referred to as the Jewish Elvis?
I haven't the foggiest. I haven't heard that before.
Oh, you've never heard of the Jewish Elvis? Yeah, actually, you have heard of the Jewish Elvis. Maybe you didn't know his name. Neil Diamond is referred to as the Jewish Elvis.
I didn't know that.
Well, there you go. The things you find out, hanging around on Song of the Day.
Yes.
I didn't know until recently that actually when Neil Diamond started out, he considered using a stage name. He didn't, but Neil Diamond is actually his
That's
name.
his real name. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But he considered using two different stage names, Ice Cherry, if you can believe that, and Noah Kaminsky.
It's a good thing he stuck with Neil Diamond.
I think Neil Diamond works really, really nice. And actually, Neil Diamond, interesting guy, started out as a songwriter and worked in the old Brill Building in New York City. Someday, I'm going to put together a feature on Brill Building songwriters because there was all sorts of people who passed through that building. It was a place at a time, and it's all different now, but in those days, you could go into the Brill Building and find musicians, session people, studio people. There were recording studios there. There were publishing companies, record companies, and songwriters, and they were all there in the building. And so whatever you needed, you could get right there.
Yeah.
It's natural for him to be working there, actually, because he was a New York boy, well, born in Brooklyn, actually, went to high school, two different high schools. In the first one that he went to, he sang in the chorus with Barbara Streisand.
Huh.
Though he says that it was a big school, it was a big chorus, I never spoke to her.
Oh, okay.
He knew who she was, but
Yeah.
he never spoke to her. Later on, he transferred to Abraham Lincoln High in Brooklyn, where he graduated, but he had as fellow schoolmates at that time both Carole King and Neil Sedaka.
Uh-huh.
So Neil Sedaka for sure. I think Carole King as well ended up as songwriters in the Brill Building as well.
Wow.
So Neil he wanted to be a performer, not just a songwriter, and he'd come up with a song called Shiloh, which ended up being his first single. I don't know if you remember Shiloh. It goes back to about 68, 69. A nice little song about having an imaginary friend called Shiloh.
Yeah.
And anyway, he was signed to a particular record company and ended up having a big argument with the president of the record company about Shiloh.
Yeah.
The president refused to release Shiloh as a single, and so Neil left that company, signed with somebody else, put out Shiloh, and it was a hit for him. So away he went from there.
I can give you a little bit of trivia. Even before he got into music, he wanted to be a laboratory biologist.
Neil Diamond wanted to be a biologist.
Yes, his goal
Really?
was to find a cure for cancer because his grandmother died of cancer. And he was good at the sciences, and that's what he wanted to do, but a music publishing company came along and gave him an offer he couldn't refuse. Write songs for $50 a week.
Well, and speaking of the songwriting thing, he was interviewed last fall. He's got a new record out as of last fall called Melody Road. And the title track from that and a couple of other songs are sort of semi-autobiographical. Particularly Melody Road seems to be talking about the process of having a career writing songs and so forth.
Yeah.
Last fall, he was touring the UK, and he was asked in an interview about songwriting, and particularly, well, do you enjoy and love songwriting? You've been at it for so long. And he says, no, he hates it. Yeah, he says, I absolutely hate it. He said, but all right, nobody told me it was going to be easy. And so what? I'm a ditch digger when I'm writing songs. My back hurts? Who cares? I got to get this ditch dug deep and strong, and it's got to serve its purpose. There are no shortcuts. There are only long cuts. That's what it is. But I've been doing it a long time now. I can't find another way to make a living. He actually does a pretty good job at it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, in fact, do you take requests?
I do.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I'll send you, just to break the mold in a way. It's not your song of the day, but at some point you can play Neil Diamond's new song, Something Blue. Why I say break the mold is because many people, including my daughter, will accuse me of having a musical taste that never really left the 20th century.
Uh-huh.
I do listen to new things. I like new things. Not many, but some. You know. And in particular, we came across Neil Diamond's most recent CD while picking over the carcass of the Target store.
All right.
And it's quite a neat little tune called Something Blue. But anyway, the reason why we're doing the Jewish Elvis this morning is because I thought, well, what goes on with, you had to do Blinded by the Light, right?
Right.
Talking about poor old Springsteen and never getting number one. He had to do Blinded by the Light. And so, well, what about songs about light?
Right.
Or songs that talk about light or featuring light. And in 1982, Neil Diamond had a hit song called Heartlight. Now, where did this come from? Well, actually, it's because Neil Diamond went to the movies, believe it or not.
Uh-huh.
It goes back to 1982. Neil Diamond and another of our old friends, Burt Bacharach, and his wife, Carol Bayer Sager, all went to the movies and they saw E.T.
Oh, okay.
You remember E.T.? I don't remember E.T.
Yeah.
Well, I remember E.T. to a degree. I have never seen E.T. Still
Really?
Yeah, there was a time, I maintained, there was a time in the late 1980s when there were only about 15 people on Earth that hadn't seen E.T.
Yep.
I was one of them. It was like me and 13 guys in a hill tribe in Borneo. I would, we're the only people who haven't seen it. And I was a holdout, and I'm still to this day a holdout. Never seen E.T. But I'm given to understand that when E.T., who is like the little funny-looking alien dude, makes the bicycle fly, all that stuff. But when he flies, when he makes the bicycle fly and so forth, his heart glows.
I have to watch it again. I know the tip of his finger glows, but I don't remember the heart. Yes, so.
Yeah. Well, apparently
his heart watch it again.
Glows.
Okay.
And so Neil and Bert and Carol are all at the movies. They see this sweet little film, and they go home and they're talking about it. And it sort of comes to Neil, and with the help of the other two, he bangs out this song, Heartlight.
Huh.
There was actually another song called Heartlight by Kenny Loggins, but it has nothing to do with E.T.
Right.
So that's what I can tell you about Neil Diamond, and so you can reminisce about whether or not E.T.'s heart glows while you listen to Heartlight.
Come back again.
And as usual, I have to stop it right there due to the fair use rules on YouTube. If you haven't already, please subscribe. You can check us out on Facebook or head over to our website, which is songology.ca. Now, here's your chance to listen to the music or go on to the next episode.